Greetings, Blood Bowlers, and welcome back to another episode of All or Nuffle. And for the first time in a long time, all three of us are together. We've got Gary, and we've got Steve, all three of us.
Hello.
This has got to be the first time since like April, I think, that we've all been together.
I've actually come with a box of tissues because I'm getting a bit moist.
And here I was thinking he was going to say a bit emotional. I ought to have known.
I forgot mine.
That's what I meant, a bit emotional, the tears. What are you thinking of, you dirty bastards?
So, as you may remember from the last episode, we're on a little bit of a quest, or Steve's on a little bit of a quest to find what team is going to take to the Full Beard Cup at the end of October. And we had a little bit of a chat about what he wants from the team that he's going to take compared to what he's played previously. And we did some votes in various places. We did a vote on Spotify and within Nuffles Nomads itself. And then there's a few bits that Steve's just personally interested in that we've built into a shortlist, haven't we, Steve, to discuss today?
We have indeed, yes. So we're obviously very kind to have the audience of the All or Nuffle guys come in, and they voted for a team, and then obviously the Nomads have voted for a team, and then also if it wasn't for listening to the podcast, your last podcast with Gary, there's a team now I'm interested in that I want to talk about as well. So there's 3 teams that I want to go through. And the idea I want to do tonight, if that's okay, is I want to pick your brains with your viewpoints on these teams. And then what I want to do with it is kind of, just go through the teams, go through all the bits and pieces of them. And then I want to go back out to your audience, to All or Nuffle podcast listeners and to the Nomads. And I'm going to put it in their hands. They can vote for which team I'm going to take. And it'll be down to out of those 3 teams. So I think, I'm ready to do. If you want, I can start it off and I can say, well, the first team, which was the Spotify, wasn't it? So you had a vote on Spotify, and your Spotify listeners had chosen High Elves. They did, which look amazing on the sheet and everything like this. And I was praying that the new team getting released wasn't Chaos Dwarves, was going to be High Elves, but it turned out to be Chaos Dwarves. And unfortunately, I'm not blessed with so much money to be able to buy metal High Elves or buy the old original High Elves to take to a Games Workshop. If it was any other tournament, I would definitely be looking at a third party team because I do like the look of them. They literally tick all the boxes. They got a bit of strength, they got a bit of speed, they got good passing, they got everything that I wanted them to have. But they don't have the model, or they don't have the cheaper models to take to Warhammer.
Yeah, so what you've got then is you've got a ready-made excuse, because if you don't do well, you wanted High Elves, and that's why it hasn't worked.
That was it. I just literally, it was High Elves all the way, guys. And it was actually Warhammer that ruined it because they gave us Chaos Dwarves, not High Elves. So, there we go.
So, in theory, guys, Games Workshop are to blame for me doing terribly.
I'm schooled by the best here. We have the Nomads, we have the All or Nuffle, we have everyone here helping me do everything that I could. But Warhammer World ruined it for me. Ruined it for me. So,
but we need to confirm why that's a problem, because at Warhammer World events you can only bring Warhammer World models.
This is it, and you can bring the original first edition Blood Bowl miniatures and stuff like this. And having a quick scan on eBay and the rest of it, I'm not willing to part over £100 for a team. But so it's just unfortunately that one got.
Steve.
Yes.
Allow me to interrupt you for just a small second, because I may have an option for you. However, I know it kind of goes against the process that you were hoping to go on.
Oh no!
When the vote came in on Spotify for it to be High Elves, one of the Nomads members messaged me privately and said, "Brilliant, I'm glad it's High Elves, I'm a High Elf coach, this and this." And I said, well, sadly, mate, I think we're probably going to have to kind of disregard that vote and maybe substitute it for one of the other Elven teams.
Yeah.
Because Steve, there's no available miniatures, you've got to use official Games Workshop. And he said, well, I'm going to the Full Beard Cup. I'm more than happy to bring in my 3rd edition High Elf team from to use for the weekend.
Well,
But I said to him, I said, that's a lovely offer. I says, but if I know Steve well enough, I'm sure he will want to go from buying it to building it to painting it specifically for the event.
So the one thing I want to do with this team is because the community's been such a big help in it, and the Nomads are a big help in it. I want to paint them in the color scheme of the Nuffle Nomads, so I want them to be Nuffle Nomad players. And what I also want to do is I want to name all the players after people who have helped us. So I want everyone who's voted or done everything, I want them to give me names. We'll pick the names, and they will be players. And then I'd like to be able, at the end of it, to be able to say how well these guys did, because I'm all up for conversions and changing people's heads and doing anything like that, or making things whatever I can to make it a bit more interesting. But yeah, I mean, although that curveball, I'm just like, high elves. Oof. I mean, I tell you what, I would still like to play with high elves. I would love it if he can bring him, because do you know if he's going to come up the day before, or if we can play with it some other time?
I'm not sure. Adam, if you're listening, I don't know if I've already asked you if you're free to come on the Friday night when we're meeting up for some practice games.
Yeah.
So message me and let me know, but I'll look into that for you, Steve.
No.
But for now, we'll table high elves.
Yeah.
Until there's development, there. But I think that, did you say you wanted to replace them in sort of the running for Full Big Cup with Wood Elves?
It was Wood Elves. So the Wood Elves, I believe, were the second pick on that, the second highest one on there. And I want to basically the first team I want to talk about is Wood Elves. I played with them with yourself, and that was my awakening moment. That was my coming out the closet. No, that was my that was my moment.
Do you want to tell the listeners why it was so awakening for you, Steve?
Oh, because I beat Baz.
Everybody beats Baz.
So it was literally, to be fair, there was very, very suggestive coaching from Baz, and it got me through some tricky spots. But the point being was, it was quite an intuitive team. It was very easy to play with, and doing certain moves. You don't have to think twice so much about doing certain moves, about dodging in, dodging out, getting out of tackle zones and stuff like this. Whereas where I played before in a competition with Imperial Nobility and other teams you play and dabble with, you always have to think twice. The amount of times I've been tripped just getting out of a tackle zone. Whereas Wood Elves was just like, I'm in it's almost like there's nothing there, So it just So at that point I was just like, this is really easy, and then being able to throw the ball down the pitch and be able to catch the ball and then move, and I was suddenly like, this moving the ball game is a completely different way of playing Blood Bowl, and I really enjoy it. And that's where I now go, I want to have a team that can move that ball, but I have that one thing where I still want this back line. I still want that kind of saving tackle kind of thing. Whereas we discussed before, and I think it's like Wood Elves, is that kind of thing, like you could go in for a tackle and event possibly even hurt yourself or injure yourself, where actually it'd be easier to concede a point, and then suddenly I could end up playing against someone who decides to, what's it called when you do nothing, when you're waiting at the end of the touch line,
stalling.
Stalling, which is a completely legit tactic, which I'm very aware and I've seen happen, but I'm just like, that becomes an element. So, but getting into Wood Elves, I do like them. They are fast. They are tier 1, and just out of the gate, the only thing that's weak on them is the armor value. So a weaker armor value team or tier 1 armor value team. But apart from that, their movement's really high. And their strength's pretty weak. But agility and passing is second to none. The only strength you have in it, from what I see and look at it, is the War Dancers. You got 2 War Dancers who are, they've got their blodgers and they can leap, and they've got their strength.
Hey, he's picking up on terminology. Blodger, where's that coming from? He's fucking pulled that out his ass, hasn't he?
No, I didn't.
I've got a clue what he's talking about.
So, but yeah, they've got those skills, but they're the only ones. Apart from that, the gameplay for Wood Elves, as I see it, is literally a throwing and passing game. And knowing the way that you play a throwing and passing game, you get the ball back, you get it, so you throw it down the field. If someone makes a break, your people who are left to do the tackling at the back are your throwers, or maybe a lineman or 2, is the way I kind of see it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't, it's a strong team. It's a good passing team, but I just don't think it has that safety that I may want. I mean, you have the Tree Man as well.
Right. So I would say that you are maybe thinking about that a little bit one-dimensionally, in the sense that it seems that your approach when you think of a scenario like that is that I have committed all my players up the pitch in an attempt to score. I have lost the ball, and my opponent is going to push back down the pitch, and all my players are going to be committed, and I'm going to be left with nothing but like linemen and things like that to try and scramble. Which as a newer player is a very valid apprehension. What you've got to realise is that it's not always armour or strength that makes those players holding the line strong. What you've got to realise is all those players that you have committed way up the field can move backwards just as fast as they move forwards.
Yes.
All those people, just imagine a pitch now, like from one end to another, and let's say you've pushed up the right hand side, and your team's sort of like spread out in a bit of a diagonal angle from one corner to another, so to speak, from the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Let's say your opponent gets hold of the ball, swings back round to the end where their team is close to the touchdown area they want to score in. Your team that's been exposed pick can just swing immediately back round and then press them towards the sideline.
This is true, yeah.
Your speed is just as useful in recovery and defense as it is offense.
Yeah.
And the difference is learning how to use Wood Elf's strengths in every scenario, and maybe not totally forgetting that they're only at Armour 8+, because you've got to constantly be wary that people can be injured quite easily. You don't want to be playing with less players, but try not to focus too much on Armour 8+ being a weakness.
Yeah.
Try and focus on just how useful that high movement can be in all scenarios, not just getting from one end of the pitch over to score, but as I say, pedaling back to, they get all the ball, you bring all your players back, you press them to one sideline, or you drop them back. Because let's just say a player's dropped the ball right at the pitch, but barely any of your team's moved up, you can just drop them back as like a line of safeties, as you say. It's I think the best way to approach it would be to start thinking of their movement as multifaceted and not just these guys are fast, they can score.
Yeah.
These guys are fast, and think of it as, instead of like the faster they can score, think of it, they can fast, they're super mobile. I can get more players where I want them for whatever use than other teams can.
Yeah. The bog standard, two halves as well is you score on your half when you receive the ball, and they score on their half when they receive the ball. With Wood Elves, because of the speed, you can pretty much choose when you're going to score, and then the next thing you've got to be able to do is when it's their turn, is pressurizing them into scoring early, because you can score in 1 or 2 touchdowns, no problem at all.
Yeah. No,
so it's actually not too bad. You can come back, and you don't even need to stop them scoring. You just need to make them score quick.
Yeah, let them score. Let them score, because you can probably score
put
twice
the pressure
as fast
on.
as they can.
Bring your war dancers in. Give them something to think about. Make them roll dice or score.
So this is where you start to lean into, Steve, something that in Blood Bowl is known as drive management.
Okay.
So the most common score, win or lose, in Blood Bowl is 2-1. Purely because the way you want to look at it is, if you are kicking to your opponent, you want to get them to score as quickly as possible, so that you have got time in the first half to score yourself, to go into half time at 1-1, and then for the second half they'll be kicking to you, and you drag out your score for the nearly entire half and score late, leaving the score 2-1, and it works in reverse. If you are receiving at the beginning of a game, you want to drag out that first half and score as late as possible to deny them the opportunity of equalising and going into the half at 1-1.
Okay. All right.
You're effectively stalling. But you don't have to stall down near the end zone. You can receive the ball and back off, waste a couple of turns, and react to see what's happening. They've got to then spread out and stop you going round.
Okay.
If you score in 2 turns like you can do, then you've got 6 turns to try to stop the person scoring. So it's in your interest, if you're receiving the ball, to try and delay for as long as possible. Now, that's not a problem if you've got a bashy team. But if you haven't, then you've got to come up with all sorts of things, and that's going to involve things like feigning round one side, throwing all your players there, but because you've got loads and loads of movement, when they come back round, you just come really, really deep, and you can swing back round the other side.
Okay.
And all you're doing is you're stalling.
And then
you're stalling, but not near the touchdown.
No, fair enough. No, I like that. So then you would say if you had it, or they've got possession, not to try and take the ball, but try and push them.
Well, where's your strength with Wood Elves?
Oh, so it's speed. It's speed.
Tree.
We talked about speed and numbers that you can put in places. So
Yeah.
if they are going to score and they're going to go up the pitch, then be like a blooming herd of blooming lions and just take their hangers, take their slowest players out. Attack a few of their players with multiple numbers, whilst also putting pressure on the next turn, setting yourself up the next turn to put pressure on the ball.
So
because then what you're doing is you're giving them choices.
See, I just now have this idea that there's going to be a box going up centre, and I'm just taking out whatever's hanging around, just going in and decimating the rest of them. Just
What do you do, Baz, in defence with Wood Elves? What's your plan of attack?
Well, it depends what team you're playing against, but generally, so am I playing in defence as in like the beginning of the game I've kicked to them, so to speak?
Yeah, let's just say we'll do both scenarios. You've kicked to them, or maybe after 2 or 3 moves you've lost the ball in their half and they've got it.
So right, in a scenario where it's the beginning, let's just say it's the beginning of a half and I've kicked to them, I'm almost always, if I'm playing against anybody that's got any strength 3, setting up 3 linemen on the line of scrimmage. Everyone else is back, because then I know that next turn, the absolute maximum amount of people that can get hit is 4. The 3 on the line of scrimmage that I put there, and 1 person by a blitz. The next turn, you assess again, who's based, who isn't. Do I want to dodge out anybody that is based so that they can't be hit next turn? And the first couple of turns for me are always going to be very reactive. I'm waiting for a little bit of a tell from my opponent to what they're going to do. And if I see them rushing down one side, I'm going to put the pressure on, and I'm going to try to make it look like I'm going to do everything I can to stop them from scoring. But I'm not actually going to try and stop them. I want those guys to score on no later than turn 4 or 5, maybe even 6 playing as Wood Elves, because you've got a lot of speed. You can score again in a short period of time. But yeah, I'm gonna feign trying to stop them scoring as best as I can and make them think, oh God, this guy's really piling up pressure. I really need to hurry up and score. So that when they're kicking back to me after scoring on turn 5 as Wood Elves, I'm just going to be like, yeah, fucking brilliant. I'm just going to fucking score now. Go into half time, and then it's second half, you're going to kick to me, and I'm going to drag the absolute arse out of the entire half and win 2-1.
Cool. And then what happens if you have received the ball and you've made a play, you've got over the halfway line, you've got a really good position, but they come in and they knock your cage or they knock a player, and for whatever reason, you lose the ball, it bounces out. They've got it just on the inside of their half. Mm-hmm. Let's just say turn 3 or 4. You absolutely need to put the screws on to get the ball back or make them score, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in them scenarios where you're in the middle of a half and nobody's scored yet, I think that's where you would think to yourself, right, I am going to put on the pressure here and I want to try and force them to score, but then have this secondary objective in your mind thinking, but if I see an opportunity where I can pop that ball out and get it back, especially if it's just on inside their half, you think there's 13 squares from the line of scrimmage to an end zone. So if they're a couple of squares in, that might mean there's only 10 squares to go to end zone. Mm-hmm. One Wood Elf with 2 rushers can travel all but one of them squares. Mm-hmm. So if you can put the ball out in a position like that, brilliant.
Yeah, with Edge 2 across the team as well, you can hand off as long as somebody's within 8 squares. You're not even going to have to rush.
Yeah, and I think it's just in them scenarios that you just specifically mentioned. It's about monitoring the game down to its incremental level, like literally every detail of, right, he's moved this player here, does that mean that I'm going to be better off trying to force him to score? Like watching every move and thinking whether trying to get the ball and scoring yourself or allowing them to score is going to be the most advantageous thing, while obviously looking at what turn it is and how much is left on clock.
Yeah. No, I think. I tell you what, definitely changed my opinion of it in what you guys have said there, and it's again. I mean, another thing that's quite interesting because it's a tournament setting. I know full well. Say it all went tits and it went down to the end. It got to the wire. It was going the opposite way. They've got the ball. They're dragging it towards the end. It's it's 1-0 or it's 1-1 or trying to flip it. That's when you at least last couple of turns you might do something a little bit risky, even if your players get injured, because tournament setting, you get your players back again. So you do have that as well. So, if I had to change something around or force a hand, I know I got that. And again, strength 3 isn't brilliant, but you got a lot of guys and you can move people around. So, if anyone made a break and if I can get 2 or 3 players down, suddenly strength 3 is 4 to the 5. I only need 3 players to make an even roll against a big guy, so it's not horrendous. No, food for thought, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what team you end up picking, Steve, obviously the Friday before Bugman's Belter, we're going to Warhammer World to play some practice games.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy for us to set up some scenarios to show you that sort of like pressure in one side then swinging to other. Because I've done it before. Like I've been in games with Wood Elves where I played a game against Lizardmen and bless the player, I pushed left. Yeah. He committed his entire team. I swung back round to right. He committed his entire team. I swung back round to left. And eventually, he got so unsure of where I was going to go that he split his team in half and left me a perfect channeled out middle. And turn 7, I blagged him for a full 7 turns and scored on 7 turns straight down middle at pitch.
So... yeah, well, I mean, I tell you what, it's definitely because I enjoy playing Wood Elves with you, and that again, like I said, it was a bit my awakening in playing this passing kind of game. My concern of them was defense. I mean, as I look at him, because the only other player that you have in there, you do have that Treeman, but he's quite costly for 120, and it's 1.2 million we get. And it's just, this is what I want to go into the next episode. Whatever team we pick, I want to kind of go through how we pick the team that's going to get played, But I just feel like that one player is not this defensive mindset that I was having and this whole kind of thing. I'm just like, it would just never be enough. Because at the end of the day, he only covers 3 squares. So you get me, it's 3 squares on the line. He's, and his movement's 2, and then if he gets, take root, he's done. He's no good.
And to be fair, depending on how risky you want to be in terms of rerolls, taking the Tree Man is not as difficult at 1.2 million as you think. The roster at Bugman's Belter that I took, I had 2 War Dancers, two catchers, 1 thrower, a Treeman, and 3 rerolls.
Yeah. Oh.
And obviously the rest of my team were linemen. So I took everything that I could. Barring 1 throw, I just stuck to 1 throw instead of 2, and I only took 2 catches instead of 4. And well, it served me quite well.
I say second place.
So you said it. Yeah. You said it.
So that's the Wood Elves. That was the first team that we came out, and that was from the guys on Spotify and your listeners on All or Nuffle. Then, obviously, thank you. You put a vote up into the Nuffle Nomads, and the team that the Nuffle Nomads came back were with the Skaven. So,
yes.
So
I think it's worth saying as well that it was a bit of a bloody landslide selection for Skaven as well.
Oh yeah, no, it's literally, I can't remember the numbers now on it, but it was.
I think out of 24 people put votes in, and 11 of them chose Skaven, so nearly half.
So Skaven, purely because just the way I am, I've never ever looked at rats or anything furry in any type of wargaming or anything like this, because I've just been like, I've never been one to like the model per se, but these models are good models. They are nice ones that they got there. And now I've obviously started looking into the Skaven because you hear good things about it. I mean, like a gutter runner who's got movement 9 is like, that's awesome. Like, you line up 2 gutter runners, but you can take up to 4 gutter runners, can't you? And it's like, yeah, it's interesting. So comparatively against, say, the Wood Elves, their armor's the same-ish. They got better blitzers, I think it is. Blitzers are 9+ armor. Yeah, everyone is 8+ on there. It's 8+. Your passing is a mixed bag across the field, from 4s, 2s, 4s, and 5s. Agility is 3s and 2s. Strength is 3s and 2s, the same, and the movement are the changes in it. So they are, I mean, again, they're interesting. Like you got so the throwers have pass and sure hands. You got dodge and block. You haven't got any blodgers, but yeah,
I tell you what, he's a glossary of terms for Blood Bowl. This lad.
I'll tell you what. And the other thing to note as well, Steve, and I know our listeners, a lot of them probably already know this, but you've got the two teams there with probably the two best players in the game.
Well, it's funny you say that, Gary, because I were about to say to Steve that you've spoken about two teams that, if you ask anybody the player that they enjoy fouling the most in Blood Bowl, they're going to answer either War Dancers or Gutter Runners, 1,000%.
Apart from
they are the ones. Well, yeah, they are the ones that everybody loves to just destroy and get off the field because they're that devastating.
They got a big target on their back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, just looking at the stats, they're definitely both of them in their own right are very interesting. Again, like that gut right, that 9 movement is just, and it's
fucking
disgusting, is what it is. If we're being honest.
But some people do in tournaments with gutter runners is sometimes they'll put something like sure feet or sprint on them, which gives them an extra movement or an extra go for it, or a re-roll if they do go for it.
Jesus.
So to put that into perspective, Steve, do you know when you finish your full movement, you can move up to 2 extra squares normally by rolling a 2+.
That's right. Yeah.
Sprint allows you a third one of those squares. So a gutter runner can move 12 squares.
How long is the pitch
when
again?
It's got sprint. It's 13 squares from the line of scrimmage to score, so you can get 1 square from scoring with sprint in turn 1.
But the thing is, it's like you could literally line 2 guys up. Like, you get 2 gutter runners lined up nicely.
Full length of the pitch.
Well, think of it like this, Steve. What's the movement on a Skaven thrower?
Skaven throw is 7. So even
7. Let's just say a Skaven thrower. You start your turn with a Skaven thrower in your own end zone, literally stood in your own end zone.
Mm-hmm.
It can move up 7 squares, do a short pass, just a 1 square pass to a gutter runner,
pass, yeah,
or even a 3, anything in that first bracket of the throwing ruler, to a gutter runner, who can then move 9, which leaves. So that'll take you 3. That'll take you 3 squares past the line of scrimmage. So let's just say with 2 rushers, that'll take you 5 squares past. Another handoff to a gutter runner who can then move in and score with just 1 rush.
It's filthy.
It's fucking disgusting. Is what it is.
It's definitely very mucky.
But the thing is, I really like it.
Oh my god! I'm sure I don't play Skaven, but I'm sure any Skaven coach out there will tell you that it's the most satisfying thing. But I've had it done to me, and all it makes me want to do is fucking smash their minis to pieces when they do it to me.
But you're not violent at all, Baz, are you?
Oh no, just grab table of.
just like Christmas and Monopoly at Baz's, isn't it? Like.
Oh mate, don't fucking play Monopoly with me. I'm a cheating bastard.
Oh,
I'm a right cheating bastard. I hide money and everything.
I love it. I'm the one. I'm literally to Jake. I just like seeing chaos unfold. I'll wind people up all day long, So
we need to not get you two playing Monopoly ever.
So you just imagine, So yeah, that was the end of the name ads because of a Monopoly game.
Harry strangled Steve to death while playing Monopoly.
So
I know I've been called as a witness, Your Honour, but I do like both of them. And I know one of them has passed away in an unfortunate Monopoly accident.
So going on to these guys. So they're filthy, is what they are. They're rats anyhow, so they are filthy. And I think, like you're saying, it's the same kind of thing about getting people back round. You have blitzers as well, which are pretty okay. for what they are. You know, it's the lineman and the blitzer. To be fair, there's not much in the difference apart from the armor value in it. Like, you know, so that's the kind of thing. Like, if I was playing that, I'll be lining up a lineman and a blitzer all day long, pairing them off like for wherever they're going. Because at least then, from strength 3 to strength 4, essentially, isn't it? Like, you know, there's a little bit more in that. You are playing a throwing and a moving game. Like, but what's nice is I've got ideas in my head with those guys. I'd run back down to my end zone, drag everyone down, and run straight back up the pitch again. Like, you know, and that's how I'd kill time on that game. The only thing that sits
sorry, go on.
I was going to say the only thing that doesn't sit too well with me is how filthy it is. It's just, but I mean, it is.
Mate, you will not be the first person to take a filthy Skaven team to a tournament, and you will certainly not be the fucking last. So just do whatever you want to do.
Very popular team.
I'm not. It's not me who's going to choose. So this is it. Everyone else gets to choose for me. Like, you know. So, but they are definitely an interesting team, and again, I mean, the Rat Ogre. You got the Rat Ogre. Is Animal Savagery and Frenzy. So he's an interesting one to have on the pitch there. And again,
look at his movement as well.
Yeah, he's movement 6 as opposed to the tree, which is movement 2. You know, so he can get around.
Movement six is good for a big guy.
Yeah, so
he's probably one of the best big guys, I think, as well. You know, him and the Crocs are just absolute beasts.
I'm a big fan of Minotaurs, me.
Oh yeah.
So the thing,
love a Minotaur.
So the thing with him in my head is, like, again, setting up. If I was going to set up, I'd put the lineman up on the line of scrimmage, and I'd actually keep him back, because if an attack is going on, if I wanted to throw someone in, he's strength 5. You know, so a lot of people, like, you know, he's not going to do too bad. Like, you know, if he's in the middle of the pitch, he can cover to the left and to the right. He can move one way or move the other way, and then I know him.
He's a great blitzing big man.
Yeah. So,
like, a lot of the big guys, like for the tree, it's very rare you're going to blitz with a tree. I mean, I'm sure I've done it. I'm sure people do it, but because of that movement too, it sometimes doesn't feel right to spend a blitz to travel such a short distance. Mm-hmm. I always think that the most impactful blitzers are the ones that your opponent didn't really account for being the blitzer, because you've managed to move them quite a way, which obviously the more they can move, the better, which is why I like Minotaur, because they start with the horns skill, which means they get a +1 to the strength when blitzing, and they've got decent movement. So, you know, they're quite mobile, and then when you do blitz with them, you get a +1 to the strength. So they'll be at 6 strength when blitzing.
Oh, wow. Oh, nice. But yeah, so I'm just seeing if I can find a Minotaur, because if not, but don't worry, I'm getting distracted. They're in there, I think.
Chaos Chosen and can take one.
They're right at the front, aren't they? I think in this.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Minotaur, 5, 4+ edge, 9, Loner Frenzy, Horns, Mighty Blow, Fixed Skull, and Unchanneled Fury as well. So, but that's so. Getting back to, again, with Skaven is similar to Wood Elves. I like, the movement and stuff is there. I like in my head, the idea, I'd keep the Rat Ogre off the front line. If I wanted to make a push or attack through, I would blitz him to go and knock a hole, you know, and with Frenzy or anything like that, he's bang, bang, he's going to clear a space, and that's where the gutter run is going down, you know, or whoever's going to make the breaks are going to make their break down. And add 2+ with those gutter runners as well, even if there is 1 or 2 people in there to, you know, on, you know, what 5 out of 6 chance of just getting through it, like, you know. So, yeah,
exactly.
One only other thing I will say is it's going to be very difficult to be able to make people's faces on rats, like, you know. So if you guys are voting, and if you're in it, like, you know, if you want your face, because I want to mess around and do, you know, I can make you look like a nice lovely wood elf, like, you know, but it'll be interesting trying to make you guys look like rats.
I don't think there's a fucking wood elf that's built like me.
I can make it. I'll make it happen. Like, you know, you know what?
Poor lad's going to be fucking skint with the amount of green stuff he's going to have to buy.
I want to have fun with this, like, you know, and it is that. But again, very interesting team. Like, it wouldn't be because I normally go by how things look and stuff like this, or just how I generally feel about it. Or I've never really looked at them. I find them really interesting. So yes, so that's the app team, and then finally, the team that I've now grown an interest in because of yourselves, and more so because of Gary, is the human team, not the Imperial Nobility, which I took last time. And to be fair, I didn't even want to touch humans or anything human at all going into this tournament. But since you've changed over to humans, Gary, and you're playing humans, and as I look at them, they are just they're interesting. They're a bit like you said, a Swiss Army knife. Like, you go even just simple things like the catches. Yes, well, the catches have got 8 movement. They are 2 strength. They're 3+ edge. So they're not the 2+ edge. They're 5+ in passing and 8+ armor value. They're catch and dodge. So a reroll on the catch, isn't it? So yeah, it's stuff like that. And then you got 4 blitzers who are they're strength 3, 3+, 4+, and their armor value is 9+. You got an ogre with a 10+. Your linemen are 9+. Like, just armor alone, they're quite strong. So at least it's different things, but you could still play a throwing game. So when I was at the Bugman's Belter, the moves that I was making that actually made me get downfield was long bombs. I was playing long throwing down the other end of the field because I was putting it wasn't catches. What was I throwing down there? It was blitzers.
Oh, the nobility blitzer acts as a catcher, doesn't it? Because it's got a catch skill, yeah.
Yeah, so I was throwing the blitzer down the other end of the field, and I've got my throwers, and I set up a couple of moves, and even when I had one of the guys like, "You sure you want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah," and it paid off. It worked, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is brilliant!" And again, coming back to the way I like to play and mess around, I also like the idea with the human team having the halfling hopefuls, for literally silly things in it, because if I was to get this team, I have to throw a halfling. It's going to happen because I just need to do it. But what I also like with this team is you can play a throwing game, you could play a bit of a bashy game, or you completely curveball it, shove a halfling onto it, and throw the halfling down the pitch and see what happens. You've got a variety of play in it. Yes, you haven't got as much.
You can do all of those in the same drive as well.
Yeah,
so you can be in a drive with those players on, and you can fake a long game. You can pull back, swing round, throw the. You have options.
I tell you what, Steve, it is worth mentioning as well that a lot of people who are newer to the game hear about throw teammate and immediately only think of it as I give this halfling the ball, I throw the halfling, he can move down, which is that's the bread and butter of throw teammate.
Yeah,
it's also worth noting. Also worth noting that you can actually pick him up when he hasn't got the ball and throw him at your opponent's players and have a chance of knocking your opponent's players down.
Middle of a cage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also because they're so cheap, and this is something that you said, Gary, in your last podcast. It is like they're so cheap. You use them to foul. You use them for lots of different things in that game. Like, it's almost like in my head, listening to you guys chatting, I was grouting some slabs at the time. It was great fun. But I was listening to it, and I was just thinking, I was there, I'd probably have these guys, I'd have as many of them on at the start of the game just to mess stuff up what I could, or, towards the end of the first drive, and then just when, the first half, and then the second half, when I'm replacing guys or guys have been binned off, then I can bring other people, when it's that kind of thing, and I was just like, it's just, there's a lot more different ways to play with them. But
if you're going to lean more into throw teammate as well, regardless whether it's for a scoring threat or to break cages and just throw halflings around, you first of all need more halflings rather than the one that I always take.
Yeah.
And also just grab yourself strong arm as well. Give yourself a +1 to throw the teammate.
Nice. But what it does, it's a complete different to it. Well, it does everything that I said I wanted. I wanted to be able to do a throwing game, and with 4 catchers, 2 throwers, that's 6 people on the pitch. I like just as much as the gutter runners and stuff. You get 4 gutter runners and 2 throwers, and then the I think it's down to the wood elves. It's pretty much the same kind of numbers you got on it for the throwing kind of game. But what then I do have is I've got stronger linemen. So, I can hold lines, I can hold defensive positions if I wanted to. And again with the blitzers and stuff like this, like you can move things around. You can, I'm not relying on that move to break that open, but on the flip of it, my agility is one less, so there is those kind of risks and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's where I'm sitting on it. So I've got, I don't know if you got anything else to say on that one.
I got another
Go
thing
on,
to
Gary.
think about for all three teams, but the thing I would probably say about humans is, whilst they're not as aggy as your other two selections, they absolutely do, give you some of that bashy stuff that you were talking about. So you've got the option to, you throw a couple of guard in there because you're at a tournament, and all of a sudden, you have got, the ability to be able to do lots with them with lots of options. The problem is that the other two teams, your Wood Elves and your Skaven, are bigger scoring threats.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt, they are bigger scoring threats. So humans are a scoring threat, just the same as dwarves are not a quick scoring threat, but humans are absolutely a big scoring threat, just not as big as, well, Wood Elves, I would probably say, are the biggest of the two. Maybe. Don't know. Skaven as well.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing to. Gary's touching on a good point to consider for all three teams, to be fair, Steve, because what you're looking at there in rulebook, that's just the out of the box rules. What you got to realise is that at a tournament where you get to tailor that a little bit, giving them extra skills and stuff. So however you think those teams can play, looking at that, you've got to realise that you can use skills to lean heavily into that, or you can give skills to lean in another way to make them more versatile, things like that. So, fair enough, it's good to have an understanding of what the teams are like at base, but it's worth bearing in mind that you are going to have the chance to develop them with some skills as per rule pack. So,
and you shouldn't use this as a decision maker and breaker. But I think humans are tier 2 as well for Bugmans. For Full Beard Cups. You'll get 8
so
skills
you'll get
6.
more.
Okay, it's interesting. So, I mean, in the book here it says tier 1, but was it changed? Is it tier 2 for there?
Ooh, let me have a look.
Bear in mind this.
One moment, caller. Your call is important to us.
But again,
you guys carry on. I'll grab that.
But it's again, it's interesting. But then I want to bring it back to I know that Gary said in the last podcast he's not a newbie anymore, and I'm not. I can't lean in that. But no, you're right. You are absolutely right. I can say bludger now. But but what it is I'm still going into a tournament, and at the end of the day, like my goals going into this tournament is I want to. I think it was win a game. I want to win a game, and the thing is like. I also, I'd still, if I could win one, I'd like to win more, and I still want to have a team that could do well at that, and that's where I fear a little bit with humans. I know I'm going to be like, sack it, I'm going to throw him down the pitch and see what happens, and then it all goes to crap, it all goes to pot. Whereas I know, I could play certain safety games with the other ones if I got the ball. I really liked what you guys said about holding, not stalling per se, but being able to move around, and you can lean into that with both of them, and it's they're definitely interesting kind of ways of doing it. And I also feel a little bit more confident about getting around that pitch. And also the thing is, if I'm up against Skaven or I'm up against Wood Elves, I'm going to have those issues, where someone's going to get around me, and then suddenly it's not so good. It's they've got that edge too. They're going to be jumping out of my way and stuff like this. It's an interesting thing, and this is where I need obviously got yourselves, but also your community, the guys who are listening to us, and the guys on the Nomads as well, because it's going to be everyone who's going to vote to help pick the team here. But yeah, it's definitely interesting because. As we went through it, there were some teams I literally, be absolutely honest with you, I thought it was just going to be elves. That's all I thought everyone was going to say, just elves. I was going to talk about vampires and stuff, but then humans kind of really took over for me. I really like the way they are. But yeah, it's I'm here.
Just to confirm, your humans are tier 2. Just
Nice.
looking at the tier list for the May 24 release, and humans and orcs, which I know is a surprising one at tier 2.
Oh, nice.
They're tier 2. You will get 8 skills instead of 6, and 1,200 across the board. The other thing to consider as well, and I don't know if this is a biggie for you to consider or for people who are picking teams to consider, is what you get out of the box. So you might actually want to start considering that.
So I had a look at this. So to get the maximum positionals, another Blood Bowl term, positionals. No, get the maximum positionals. You don't get them in
Fuck
the
it.
box.
Who the fuck is this kid?
They're not worthy.
But yeah, so I literally just got it up here. So for the human team, like you can get 4 catches, 4 blitzers, but in the box it's only 2 catches, 2 blitzers. Going over to the Skaven is 2 gutter runners, where you can get 4 gutter runners, and over to the Wood Elves it was 2 catches, 2 throwers. So yeah, I think it's you can take 4 of what in Wood Elves.
So I think Wood Elves you get a full box, don't you? The only thing you
No.
don't get is the tree. Is that wrong?
No.
No,
You
you can take
can
4
take them. You can take 4 catches, but you only get 2.
Yeah, you only get
All
2.
right. And do you need 4?
I've never played with more than 2.
Yeah.
So it's that as
Never.
well. It's that as well. I mean, fortunately, with the likes of eBay and stuff, I would buy a brand new box, and then I can piecemeal the other guys together quite easily. So it's not an end of the world. Unfortunately, like High Elves, I was looking at it, and one team getting not even, I don't even know if it was all of the players, was like £100 plus. I was just like, I can't spend that.
I think your Wood Elves is your most accessible box.
Yeah,
because it's just your tree.
yeah.
I think your Skaven, you only get 2 gutter runners, don't you?
That's right. Yeah. So
and I think you only get 2. Is it 2 blitz? Not blitzers. Yeah, you only get 2 blitzers as well. No, is it 1 blitzer?
What?
In Skaven.
No, you can take 2 with Skaven, and you get 2, don't you?
Yeah, you get 2.
So what was the Skaven expansion thing that I had to buy then?
Gutter runners and some more linemen. I mean, that's the other thing. It's like you only get 6 linemen. So 6 was 12 players there. Wood Elves is
another point for Wood Elves as well, Steve, is the tree man.
Yeah.
Is literally a tree. So you could even borrow my tree, and there's nothing on there that you would need to paint to look like the rest of your team, because they haven't got armor or anything. It's just a tree.
Oh, nice. But I mean, yeah.
So it wouldn't look out of place if you just borrowed mine. So save you having to spend £20 on a tree as well.
No, that's it. But it's that, and then sorry, the last thing as well is I didn't touch on this, but star players. But I think by talking with you guys, I played against. When I played in the Bugman's Battle, one guy had Griff Ober. No, he didn't. He had who did he have? He had a star player against me, but they're quite expensive for what they are to get star players on, aren't they? Like, or getting decent ones.
Yes, they're very swingy. Or when I've taken them, they are.
Yeah.
You put all that money in, and they either make the game, as in like they live up to the name of a star player, or the fucking crap and die on turn 3.
Yeah. So
I've genuinely never had anything in between. They're either doing everything for you and genuinely are the MVP and are the reason that you win, or they get removed early and you think, why the fuck did I spend that money on them?
Yeah, no, and also you're paying for them twice as well in a resurrection tournament. Normally, not only do you pay for them, to be added to your roster, and you've got to start with 11 players before you can even start thinking about star players, but you also have to spend some of your skill points on them as well in most rule packs. And so in this one, it's 4 skill points. So if you go in Wood Elves, you'd only get 2 skills.
Yeah,
so it's 4 for a megastar or 2 for a star player. And to be fair, probably the megastars are the ones that you're looking at.
Yeah.
If you're going to go mad. Or not, maybe. I wouldn't go. There are some tournament packs that you don't have to pay for skill points towards a star player, and that makes it interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was looking at that. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I think just notable mentions as well was you got the other Elven Union team was a notable mention. I like the look of it.
Yep, I like Elven Union.
Yeah. And
I mean, Gary, I'm sure you'll have Elven Union because their catchers come with Nerves of Steel by default.
Yeah, I do. I'm a big fan of Nerves of Steel.
Me
Big
too.
fan.
so what's Nerves of Steel? What's that for the layman here?
You get to you have no when it comes to is it passing, catching, and intercepting the ball. You don't usually it would be a minus modifier for every player that's marking you, but you get to totally ignore them and just catch it straight off your
tackle
agility
zones,
way out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So no, again, looking at them, there's 2+ edge. Their blitzes are 9+ on the armor value. Strength 3 across the board. Just their movement is not as much as the Wood Elves. They're not as fast around the pitch as Wood Elves, and then they match nearly for the humans on their movement, So, but there's less players, so you're playing a throwing catching game, but you haven't got that defensive kind of strength in it, So that's the difference on them that I see out of the book. But yeah, I mean, I think basically they're the 3 teams. Getting down to it, it's the Wood Elves, the Skaven, and the human. I want the community to put a vote in and see what they think or what they think would be the best team, and it'll be them who decide. And also just saying that they're getting painted in the Nuffle, and not the Nuffle, the Nomads, the Nomads colours. So, we got to figure out what those are, but I think it's black, isn't it?
Black, red, and grey.
Black and gold with a little bit of red.
Black and gold with a little bit of red. So they'll be getting painted in the Nomads colours. And also the other thing is
think Black Legion from Chaos Space Marines.
Nice. So also think about that, guys, as well, because I'll be painting them that way, and also I want to name players after people who voted and stuff like this. I want as much community involvement as possible. I am the coach, so I won't be a name player. Barry, Baz will be. He's going to be one of the catchers because he's definitely nimble, light, and fast. But just modelled with a little bit extra around the waist, I think.
Yeah, hardy. Let's say is gonna. Yeah.
Windswept and interesting.
That's it. It'd be interesting trying to get glasses on these players as well.
You have to get like some of the ones for like the model railway characters.
I want to have as much fun with this. I want to show off the team, and I want to document making them like. So I think I'm asking your community there if you can vote for what team you think I should take. The next one, what I want to do is get 3 lists together.
I think you should take dwarves.
Yeah. So, that's it. It's decided. Gary said. But
Dave, don't do that.
I'm not.
Don't do that.
I'm not taking dwarves. I'm not taking dwarves.
Don't fucking do that. You saw right when we were sat having our lunch at the Bugman's Belter, right? And as we were sat having his lunch, the 3rd round came up. You saw the existential dread on my face when I realised that I'd got dwarves. So don't do that to somebody else, Steve.
Don't do that. Skaven's absolutely fine, though.
I don't like Skaven either, but they're less dirty than dwarves.
So, but it's that. So, and then what I want to do is on the next podcast is go through 3 different team lists and how we build the teams and stuff. Obviously, I'll be leaning heavily into yourselves, chaps, and then I just want people's views on it. And then obviously what they think about it, and then kind of go from there. We'll see. There might be some more. And we'll see what else we can make out of it. But
so what I'll go on, Gary.
No, I was going to say the really, really, really interesting thing about Blood Bowl, and I know we talk about this all the time on the podcast about it's the gift that keeps giving, and all the various different facets. But there is no one perfect team, and this is the joy of it all. It's all up for debate. It's like talking about about football. With Blood Bowl, you've got all these various different teams, and you can play one team against a different race, and one will be the bogey team, and one won't be.
Yeah.
So there is no perfect team, because if you're playing against a team that's your bogey team, then they're your Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think you're doing a good job of having the 3 rosters, because we can have a really good chat then about what do you do against this team, what do you do against that team, what you're going to do about it. So and then you've got to pick a team that's going to be, you're going to go all down one side or the other side, or you're going to go for a general team, a general setup.
Yeah. Well, this is where I need to lean on yourselves and everyone, and then I can blame everyone else that I failed. But
Absolutely. And Games Workshop.
100%.
Games
And Games
Workshop.
Workshop.
more than
Well,
anything, yeah.
they ruined it from the off. Like, that was it. It was already ruined before we
Yeah.
started. So,
Wankers, mate. Wankers.
If you come first now, if you win all your 5 games, right, and win the tournament, then we can't blame Games Workshop.
no, we
No.
can't. But I'll have to get Nuffle Nomads tattooed on my butt cheek or something.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Agreed.
Forehead.
Forehead.
And then you have to get me and Gary tattooed on your chest, me on one pec and Gary on other.
But the thing is, I have to go to a really cheap tattooist that make you guys not look like your face. Just the worst tattoo.
Yeah, you have to fly. You have to fly to Benidorm and use like a €3 an hour tattooist.
So I think, Steve, what Baz has just said is that we've all just agreed that whoever wins,
Yeah,
right, has to have Nuffles Nomads tattooed on their forehead.
that's it.
And I think me and you, Steve, have got less chance than Barry has.
Yeah.
Barry is, we're now
No.
calling him.
No, I'm on a bad run at minute. I'm on a bad run. I'm looking for retribution and for my reputation to be restored.
No,
So I could still be on a bad run. You never know.
no. But also, sorry, on a different note, I was just going to go back through some catch up and stuff. You guys got tickets for the NAF, did you? Yes.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Haven't officially paid for them yet because the payment details hasn't come out. But yeah, we got in inside 30 seconds. They were half sold out inside. I think it was 6 or 8 minutes or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, but we've since found out that it was, what was it, 19 or 20 minutes?
19 minutes. It was a full sellout. Yeah,
It's just
that's more time than Oasis.
But it's so unheard of with any other. This is why I love doing Blood Bowl, because it's just how popular it is and how quick and easy a game it is and everything like this. And it's so, like you said, it changes and everything, and it's just like that. Like the NAF, it's sold so quickly. Full bid cup sold so quickly. Belter, you need to be on your toes to get your tickets to get into these kind of things. Like, it cries for needing more of these tournaments, more of this stuff. And again, it's something. There's so many of these tournaments being played all the time compared to anything else. Like, where I am, there's 3 game shops and. 40k tournament comes around once a quarter. Blood Bowl, but a Blood Bowl tournament with all the other places and the people around it, not just the game shops. Like, there's one a month everywhere near me, and then it's not too far to travel to.
Yeah.
You will get games all the time, like, so it's just one of those games that's just like, yeah, I love it, but I need to play more.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning, I know I've spoke to both of you separately about it, but we are approaching the release of tickets for the Bugman's Belter again.
Yes.
They went on sale at the beginning of November last year. I think it was the first or second week of November. So that's another one. Be good to attend that again. 12 months on from your first one, Steve.
One dayer, isn't it, that one?
It is. That's the one that starts at lunchtime and then finishes in Bugman's for the American football Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely it's between that and Beachhead. Beachhead stuff's looking at, but I think I'm going to go Bugman's. I am really.
I really want to go to Beachhead.
Beachhead is it's the same weekend as the Belter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's it. But what I don't know. I had a really good experience at the Belter, and again, is that fair? I don't know. I just don't know. Like, if going to Beachhead or going to another big competition. I mean, you guys are going to the NAF. Obviously, you did the Davitational. I mean, that you enjoyed. It's just like the NAF is going to be another one. That's going to be an interesting one, because it's. This is you're talking the hardcore players, the guys who have been, who've been there when Games Workshop gave up on them, So
I think it's probably generally accepted across UK Blood Bowl scene that the NAF Champs is probably the biggest in terms of the highest level of competitiveness.
Not sure. Not sure.
Well, I know you.
Yeah.
I think what's worth pointing out, Gary, is I've never been. Next year will be my first time. And of the dozen or so people I've spoken to about the NAF Champs, you are the only one who says that it wasn't like the level of competitiveness in terms of quality of players wasn't as high as you expected. Everyone else is like, oh my God, the best players, like people flying from Spain and shit.
Yeah, they do. The reason why I'm thinking that is because I think there's just, like Steve was sort of alluding to, there's just so many more tournaments now that I don't think there is just one tournament which has all the best players at. So you look at things like UK Team Challenge, and there's a Masters tournament next year where half of them have to be half the participants have to be from Euro teams who represented their countries. So there's also a whole bunch of other stuff, and there's different of the big tournaments, the big name ones. Different ones have different, like I was going to say benefits, not benefits, things that are brilliant about them. So the NAFs, for me, I know I've only been to one, but it's just an experience. It's such a Dan does such a great job of organising that, and the refs that all come along. You get a load of merch, and there's loads and loads and loads of people there, and it's a really, really, really good vibe. Really, really big venue. It's not over hot or anything like that. So that's really, really good. The thing with the Warhammer ones though is the 2-day ones. It's just the food. Right, you're in Warhammer the venue, right? It's absolutely amazing, superb shop, amazing museum. But you go and you get a warm meal both days, and it's brilliant.
I paid 65 quid for a ticket, and the best bit was snap.
I tell you what, it's just like Gary's gonna be writing a letter. Dear NAF, if you really want to be the best tournament, get a decent grub wagon out here, and sort me out some good grub, I don't want some
awful. It's just a sandwich and a bag of crisps, isn't it?
But joking aside, I get what he means.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
It's on the expensive side. For a 2-day tournament, you've got to realise it's NAF Champs for £60, and that's for 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a small packed lunch on both days. You get the swag were pretty substantial this year, wasn't it, Gary?
Yeah.
So that's £60. The Full Beard Cup were £5 more than that, and all you're going to get is free access to their exhibition.
No, it's £50.
And no, we paid more, didn't we?
No, it's £50 each.
Oh, well, fucking ignore me then.
Yeah, it's £50, but it's only 5 games.
Yeah.
And there's no swag.
No swag.
No swag. But you are at Warhammer. And I think the reason why the food thing is so big for me is I don't really... Warhammer is a mecca for a lot of people. It's just not for me. Don't get me wrong. Going there, you definitely feel like you're at the home of Blood Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
I think we spoke about before, there's a level of prestige.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and going around that museum, the displays, it's just out of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking.
And
the snap was good.
It's fantastic.
Well, brilliant.
But there's a whole bunch of other tournaments as well that do different things really well. Like what's it called? Thrud. Thrud is a huge, big tournament, and it sells out again in 10, 20 minutes, in an hour. All for charity, and Glow does a brilliant job there. And it's camping and overnighting and all that sort of stuff, and everyone it's a very much more casual, less serious tournament.
Mm-hmm. No, it's
absolutely.
The game brings the best people. It is good fun. It'd be interesting to see what you guys did with what happens with the NAF. I literally, like I said to Baz, I've been working so much lately. I've been working 12-hour days, and I completely just missed the boat on it. And I caught up on the chat. I was just like, oh shit. I was just like, because everyone's like, yeah, got tickets, and then I was just like, had a look, and it's all sold out. I'm just like, yeah, missed that, you idiot.
You can get on the reserve list.
Yeah, no. To be fair, I should have. To be fair, I had my first decent night's sleep the other night. But anyhow, that's my life. But yeah, it's I'm very much interested to see what happens. I think definitely if there's anyone in the Nomads who end up dropping out, please.
Steve, so just to clarify, guys, Steve is doing some reverse ticket touting there.
Yeah. So, but no, I think no, it'll be interesting to see how that goes because again, it's stepping up the leagues, and I'd like to think after I've done the full bid, I want to go into one of the big other tournaments, the Invitational, Flood Ball, or whatever else. I want to go into the next one and the next one, and then to be fair, like I don't think there'll be much more content to come out of me apart from just talking about how much fun I'm enjoying it, and I'll be in it then, I'll be very much in. But it's going to be coming up a year come February with my Blood Bowl journey. And I've enjoyed all of it so far. I can't find fault in any of it, and it's one of those ones I definitely would shout out for anyone. If you're looking at a game that's easy to get into, it is this all day long,
Yeah.
And then, it's just fun. It's good fun. So, but yeah, get back to it. Obviously, I got 3 teams. Please vote. Please tell me what I need to take.
Have you got any preference, Steve?
I think he has.
Well, it's
or are you going to keep it to your chest? Keep your cards close to your chest?
Look, put it this way. For modelling preference, I want to go humans because I can do more stuff with it for everyone. I want to have fun with it that way. That's modelling preference. But to be fair, you guys have changed my mind on a few teams tonight. So I'll be honest, Wood Elves and Skaven were a lot weaker to human to me at the start. And then just a couple of things that you guys have said. And then looking at the teams, there's definitely
3 great teams.
Yeah, there's definitely a shift. There's definitely a strong shift in there. I won't say anything. I'll let you know if you guys if it's been voted to the team that I think it would be.
Yeah. So, well, you can let us know, and then I reckon, Baz, don't reveal to him what has been picked. Let's do the big reveal on the next one.
Ooh, that's a good show.
Don't tell him. Oh, look at the awkwardness there. Steve's like, oh no.
And so what's going to happen is we're going to come back next episode and tell him he's playing fucking Snotlings.
To be fair,
who put dwarves in as an option?
Yeah. You said you wanted halfling hopefuls,
Yeah, human stunty team.
Oh man. So, but yeah, no.
Oh, so what I'll do is I'll set up a poll on Spotify, same as last time, but with the reduced shortlist.
Yeah.
I'll do the same in Nomads. Obviously, Steve will see the poll in Nomads, but I'm going to combine the results of the two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Steve will be able to see it. I don't think listeners can view the poll on Spotify, so we'll keep it a secret that way.
I think you can only view it if you vote on them. I won't vote on anything, so I will stay.
Right, okay, fair enough.
I'll stay mute, I will.
Right, so yeah, if you want to contribute or share your thoughts on which of the 3 teams that we've discussed today with Steve, which ones he should take to the Full Beard Cup, there'll be a poll somewhere down below. Drop a vote on that. If you're a member of Nuffles Nomads, there'll be a post going up in there somewhere, and you can have your say. And as Steve said, he's going to get some names from people who contribute to vote and style some of the players on that team after that person, whether it's visually or with a name, and let people know how their player performed at Full Beard, which is an interesting concept. It's, a very good beginning to end sort of process, which I know you've got a bit of a habit for, Steve, haven't you? So I'm looking forward to seeing what team you end up with, and then ultimately how you end up doing with them. I'm quite hopeful because you've got 5 games this time instead of 3.
No, definitely. Like I said last time, I want to win 1 game, but as it steps more and more, I actually want to do all right. I kind of want to go in and do okay on this one, So, but
we did talk about this stuff. When on my journey, and I know I'm only a few months ahead of you, but on my journey, when I'm going to a tournament with Brian and Ed and a few of the other guys, we talk about what our minimum acceptable is. Mm-hmm. What's the absolute minimum? Where is the line where below that you're going to be pissed off?
So for me, because I've not won, is to win 1 game. I've got 5 games to win 1. Okay. That is it.
What if you draw all of them? And you get 1 touchdown per game. and they're all 1-1s.
See, no, that would be better because it's a different way, like, you know, because it's not losing, like, you know. So the thing is, I think it's basically the last time I wanted to just get a touchdown, I wanted to get a touchdown, and I got that. This one, I want to win the game, but like you said, if I drew all the games and scored on every single one, I'd
drew 3 games, yeah.
Even if I drew 3 games, if I drew by scoring, I'd be over the moon. I'd just be over the moon, like, and that's it. Like, you know, it's more right now. I'm like we were chatting about it, Baz. I'm looking forward very much to be able to. I'm looking forward to the weekend as much as playing the game, you know, and I'm looking forward to meeting up with all the guys and having a good time and having a laugh, and that I really feel you can get out of this game and this community. You know, you don't. Yeah. I've yet to do the other ones yet, but I do feel it's a lot less pressure and it's a bit more fun, and you can really support each other and you just enjoy it. Like, there's going to be a bunch of us there, and like I said, I'd like to win one, but I'd like to see one of us do well. You know, it's like when Baz was there and I was with Baz, my heart was pounding. You know, I was like the Bugman's Belter, I was like so buzzing for Baz. It was unreal, like, you know, and it's just like, it's that kind of thing. And just seeing anyone do well that, you know, we know each other, and that's it. I just want to, you know, I enjoy it as much as other people are enjoying it. And because everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, it's just a happy time. So, yeah.
It is worth mentioning that Jamie at Serious Swag, who we are dealing with for some of the upcoming Nuffles Nomads merch, is currently producing 3D printed trophies for tournaments.
Nice.
And he dropped me a message and said, listen, I need more for my portfolio. Do you want me to do one of the Nuffles Nomads logo for free? And then you can just have it and use it for something. And I am leaning towards awarding it to the Nomad that finishes the highest at Full Beard Cup.
I think that would be awesome. That would, like, I think, all day long, like, you know, that would be amazing.
And if you
what we'll do after Games Workshop finish their award ceremony, I'll grab the microphone.
And now the real prize.
Yeah.
Now, if all you nerds want to fuck off while we get out the real awards.
And Baz, if Jamie and like it's really, I know we don't do the old sponsored by and all of that because we're not, but Serious Swag and Jamie and I've forgotten what his missus is called, who have done such a good job over this last year. They support tournaments all over the place. They're always giving away free stuff. Give him a look up. He's absolutely swamped, so he doesn't need more work, to be fair. But he's done an absolute fantastic job integrating with the whole of the community. But if he does do a trophy and he gets like a bad print, like a dodgy print, and he has to do a second print to get the good one, we could use the dodgy one for the wooden spoon for the lowest placed Nuffle.
Yes.
I'm just looking there, Gary. There's a spot right on your shelf for that there.
Yeah. Can you see my wooden spoon that I got on my last tournament?
Nah, I'll be looking after
this. But no, it's very, very, very exciting. And I'm very looking forward to it for multiple reasons. So we're on countdown.
Yes.
Yeah, we are. I want to, and it's a complete personal thing, but I want to do a shout out for Callum. Callum is a young lad who has been in the last couple of leagues locally that we've run, and really, really, really good young lad. His dad plays as well, and his mate, and he has really got into it. He's got the bug. Like, he's 16, absolutely got the bug. Has bought, Charlie Victor swag and all of that sort of stuff. He's an avid listener. He absolutely loves the pod. So I just wanted to say hello to him because he'd really, really, really appreciate it. And he's coming to Full Beard.
He is.
So you're going to see him there, and he's having the same conversations with me, Steve, that you're having here around team selection. So I think he's looking at Ogres or what did he play me at the weekend? Oh shit, I should remember this.
Black Hawks.
Black Orcs. Black Orcs or Ogres he's gonna go for. And I think he's erring towards Black Orcs. I know.
He's a lot braver than me, but I'm going to beat
But
you,
he's just in
Charlie.
it for the shits and giggles.
I tell you what,
It's
guys,
Callum.
Callum might be taking that fucking broken trophy off you, mate.
I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will. I'm not saying he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna come first, but he's a bit of a player. He can hold his own.
Baz, make sure we bring our cheerleading outfits for him, all right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got my short skirt.
My hot pant days are not behind me yet.
God help us.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the episode there with that image of me in hot pants, and firmly in everyone's mind.
I'm gonna sleep tonight.
I won't sleep from excitement.
Steve, do you need these?
just pass them over here. Just pass them.
Oh dear. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for listening. Please do interact with the poll, both in Nomads and in the episode itself, so we can continue to assist Steve on his Blood Bowl journey ahead of the Full Beard Cup. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.